So it's been a pretty sad week to some extent. I don't really want to say too much about it because the one I can tell you more about, but the other, well, let's get into it. So, Lionhead sort of officially is gone, which we did know, I think, last month or whatever, but this week, Wesley Impel over at Eurogamer did a super extensive, I think, in the region of about 12,000 words. Pretty much a retrospective of the entire history. You know, from how it started, all its games, the positives and negatives that it suffered, and then obviously what was happening towards the end. But pretty much from the people that worked there, from the very start through to the very end. It's a very long thing to scroll down, but if you are interested in, the history of game development, there is a lot to go through. And the fact that everybody, Peter Molyneux, trying to scroll through all the names. I see Molyneux's there, Mark Webley, Tim Rance, and Steve Jackson. The four co-founders of Lionhead. And then, people that have worked on it. So pretty much through everything from when it started in 97, and I think the first game they really did was Black and White. I think that was the first major thing. Going through the Fables and the movies, and I think that was all they did off the top of my head that I can think of. But there's an extensive thing. It is a fantastic article. I'm going to link it down below in the description because, check it out, please, because Wesley's done a very good job. Hell, even Peter Molyneux in the comments underneath says, good job on the article, and it's a great, send-off for them. So, yeah, definitely go check that out. Yeah, I could gush about it more and more, but just read it. It's a fantastic read. But the big news that really got announced this week, I think like Thursday, Friday-ish, is Disney. And I don't know whether I'm doing this because of Owen's name and his fandom and everything, but to me it's very sad as well. Disney announced that apart from, I think it's the Finding Dory and Civil War sets that are coming out in the next month or so, there is going to be no more games, really, at least coming from them. Or at least it's ended self-publishing efforts. I guess that's what I should say. But the big thing about that is Disney has done a heck of a lot of stuff throughout the years. I'm just trying to have a look through because I'm trying to find. It's very confusing. Hang on, Disney. Is it Disney Interactive Studios? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Disney Interactive Studios started in 1988 and officially got killed off, this week. Well, this past week, I guess I should say. I guess the last official game that you could technically classify as a Disney Interactive thing, at least according to what I'm seeing on Wikipedia, and it sort of makes sense because of what it is Kingdom Hearts 3 because of all the Disney characters that involved in the license. But in terms of games that are being worked on through Disney Interactive, it ain't going to be happening anymore. Basically, they're going to be giving the licenses like it was back in the old days when the games were rubbish, and that's what I'm worried about. They're going to be giving the games out as licenses for various different publishers to do. So, whether EA will take up the mantle or Ubisoft, or because I'm guessing it's going to have to be a giant company, Activision. I can't think of who did the big games off the top of my head, but I mean, I'm just quickly looking through the A to Z list on the good old wiki of Pedias and all that. I'm looking at some of the stuff they've done. I'll talk about why. I'll talk about why they what happened. In a minute, but yeah, just looking through the list. Aladdin, that was the big one that I didn't really find out until a video by Kim Justice about like the history of the thing, of that game, at least anyway. I think for the Sega Mega Drive, Sega, whoever they gave it off to, didn't give a damn about it, and Disney wanted a strong game for their strong film because it was Aladdin, and really, they actually did it in-house and developed themselves somehow in the space of like 4 or 5 months, and it sort of is a hidden gem for the Genesis / Mega Drive. So you got that one. Bug's Life. Do we need to say any more? I did a video on it, like, September 2014? 15? I've lost track. I did a video on it previously. Look for it. Gaming with Ash. Probably something to do with Bug's Life. If you if you search that, you should be able to find it. Bolts. Yeah, that was actually a surprisingly good game. That Bolt one. Buzz Lightyear Star Command. Chicken Little. That was actually not too bad. Cars wasn't too bad as well. The only problem with that is how it was on so many platforms. I think it was on PC, like 360, the original Xbox, the Wii, the PS2, the Game Boy Advance, the PSP, the Wii, GameCube, and the DS. So I didn't go to PS3. That's interesting. Okay. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Oh my god. I mean, that hasn't one that I've played myself, but I've seen the speedrunners. Darkwing Duck. Disney Infinity. We'll get to that. There's all the Disney Aladdin ones. So many of these games are actually just called Disney. I'm getting confused as to what's here. The original DuckTales. Okay, it sort of did go through Capcom for them. I think even for the remastered one as well. But technically, that was a Disney Interactive thing. All this Disney Interactive thing isn't really going to be happening now. The licenses are going to be given over. So it's still going to be a Disney game, but it's not going to have the Disney Interactive people sort of interacting it. Or at least I think it's Disney Interactive now. But the actual Disney Interactive studios that were doing this stuff, even though it was being put out to other publishers like Capcom and all that back in the day, that ain't going to be happening now. The Epic Mickey games. which were actually pretty well received, I will say. Finding Nemo, which I do enjoy, is a pretty sort of, it's a fun game. Even though, you know, because even I was struggling at some of the bits of it, even though it's supposed to be for kids, because I don't know whether I don't know whether there's something like, I've seen kids play the game and they have no issues, but when I play it, I do. I don't know if it's because of, like, reaction times and stuff, but I'm not sure. Jungle Book Brew Party. Really fun, like, dance game, rather than having to do, like, a dancing stage sort of fever thing. The Kingdom Hearts ones, which are co-published, technically, and developed by Square Enix, but all that sort of stuff. Oh, technically, Disney Interactive was involved with Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay. I guess that means that the Marvel ones would be as well. Oh, no, because that's Marvel separate, even though it is Disney. But confusing. Mickey Mania, which I enjoyed, but I know some people have been very snooty about on the internet. Monsters Inc. game, yeah, which was fun. That's all the best I can say about it, really. That's a bit of a shame. Piglet's Big Game, the Pirates of the Caribbean ones, which some were alright, some were not. Ratatouille, that was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed playing that one. Tarzan, that was a good game. The Lion King. Wow. Tron 2.0 and Tron Evolution. They weren't two bad games, actually. Certainly Tron 2.0 on the original Xbox, and I think PC. The Toy Story games. Disney's Up. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is notorious now, I guess. WALL-E. Oh, WALL-E is brilliant. I really enjoy that. Good old THQ. And then Wreck-It Ralph, which was absolutely atrocious. Which means that, you know, and considering that was Activision, I'm now worried if Activision now get the license to do, like, Disney games. Although, to be honest, at the minute, the fact that Disney are doing all these mobile games and seem to be happy enough with them, perhaps they'll be okay, but yes. Then we come to the big one. And you may be wondering why I keep making sure you can see behind me. Well, it's because something's behind me. You've probably seen, mainly because I pointed it earlier, which killed the franchise. So, basically, the announcement was that Disney Infinity was being shut down, along with the whole, you know, self-publishing video games. And the actual studio behind Disney Infinity, Avalanche Studios, will be shut down as well. The big thing is, what might have caused this is mismanagement. Which is very weird because, according to actual figures that we've got from, like, earnings calls, Disney Infinity was the #1 Toys to Life video game thing. I say video game thing, but, you know, it was that sort of, like the Amiibos, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, you know, the original game made like $500 million. Not sure what the figures were with the Marvel ones, but I think they were somewhere sort of in the region of probably like 300,000. And then since last autumn, so like 6 to 9 months, the Star Wars figures alone sort of made in the region of about $200 million. And this is despite, of course, the fact that Lego decided to step in the Toys to Life thing with the whole Lego Dimensions stuff. But the big issue was what you needed to play the game, and that's the figures. So the issue sort of started from the very first game back in, I think it was 2013. Yeah, 2013. The Disney Infinity 1.0 figures, so the original collection, so basically all the Disney properties and all that, and your Pixar stuff, and your Pirates of the Caribbean, and your Frozens, and your, General Disney and all that, Lone Ranger, all that sold out. At least from new. There's plenty of ones second-hand around that you can get, but certainly brand new, it's most of the big ones that people wanted sold out. Therefore, Disney panicked and overproduced the Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel toys and the updated versions of the first toys. And that brings me to this guy, Monsieur Hulk. You can see him there, all his weird glory. It shines off my webcam. 2 million of these were produced, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. The only issue being, at least not including this purchase here that I made this weekend, which they did have loads of these, and mysteriously by the time I got there a week later, this was the only one that was left. So I think because other people heard the news and are like bulk buying because they think stuff's going to be worth that much. The only reason I bought this sort of was as a prop for this episode, but also because this killed the franchise. Which is a shame, but it's a fact. Yeah, 2 million of these were produced, and only about 1 million have ever been sold. So there are still, it's not like it's rare even, that's the thing. I'm just saying, it was just the last on the shelf. I bet they also had like 6 or 7 Baymaxes, so they must have overproduced on them as well. There are still 1 million of these out there in the wild, probably going cheap on eBay or Amazon from somebody. And of course, then people that were stakeholders in the whole thing were wanting toys to be made of less popular characters in the franchise. So when they did come out, those specific people got them, but nobody else was interested. So I don't know whether that means, like Nick Fury ones or Hawkeye, or I'm trying to think of all the other ones for 2.0 that came out off the top of my head. Possibly the Phineas and Ferb ones, because I don't know how much of a giant following that's got worldwide that I'm aware of personally. But because of that being axed, there's 2 years of content which was going to be gradually revealed, gone. Basically, later in the end, towards the end of the year, there was going to be a Star Wars Rogue One pack developed by Ninja Theory, great studio there. There was also going to be a fancier sort of 12-inch figure, so like an even bigger figure than that. That'd be huge. And then 2017 was going to see the launch of Disney Infinity 4.0, which would have featured a Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney crossover, sort of bringing everything full circle. Also incorporating characters and stuff from Cars 3, from the new Star Wars Episode 8 film, the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean film, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Coco, can't remember what that is, Thor Ragnarok, the 3rd Thor film, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So yeah, thanks to that guy and other factors, or thanks to the abundance of that guy and nobody wanting it, whatever. That's what caused it to get killed. That's why Disney have shut it down, which is a very big shame, in all honesty. So yeah, best of luck to all the guys at Avalanche Studios and those getting laid off from within the Disney Interactive division, because obviously there will have to be some layoffs, because if they're totally getting rid of the whole prospect of self-publishing stuff, it's a shame. That the concept of that, I think, has been executed better than Skylanders. Amiibo is sort of its own separate thing, because that's Nintendo and it sort of is tied to the console rather than tied to just one specific series of games. And Lego haven't done too bad, but obviously have got to develop on it in order to me to sort of truly say it's a huge success. The first one did really well, but unless we see, a continuance of a quality game and everything being put out, I can't definitively say, yeah, this is something to watch. Well, no, this is something you have to buy. It's something you have to watch. But, yeah. I guess all I have to do now, because I won't be able to play Disney Infinity anymore, just use these bloody old Happy Meal, Snoopy toys. See? Can your amiibo wobble like that? And apparently turn backwards on his head? Oh Christ, has Charlie Brown turned into the Exorcist? What's that? Snoopy wants to suck. No. Oh, he just killed himself.